Morning, all you fabulous people! Today on KEKH5, we're covering a bit of our history over the past few years. This is David and John, in the 1920s, A Decade in Review. Isn't that a neat title, John?
It's got a ring to it, that's for sure, David. We're going to be covering the evolution of the radio.
I think someone was half seas over when they pitched that idea.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Radio covering the radio. It's pretty ironic.
Well, to start the segment off, we've brought in a very special old bird. I can't say his. The inventor of the radio itself.
Now, having this old boy in our station is unreal. So tell us, Googly Elmo, how and why did you create the radio?
Well, it's all very scientific. You see, the way electromagnetic waves work is...
That's swell and neat. Do you have anything else to say to the audience?
That's the berries. You heard him. Give it up for the old fruit.
Thank you for your time, Marconi. It was the bee's knees.
Here's some nifty information. Did you know the first radio news broadcast was in August 31st, 1920?
That's a load of hookum. The first broadcast was by KDKA on November 1st the same year.
But it wasn't. KDKA was a benchmark, not a first, my dear friend. You would know that had you paid any attention to...
I've had just about an earful of you talking!
That's pure hooey. My voice is music to the listener's ears. And as I was saying, the first college broadcast and sports broadcast were heard before KDKA. As far as I'm concerned, KDKA gets more credit than it deserves.
Well, that sure is interesting. But as keen as I am on listening to you blabber, let's move on.
Alright, as we're all well aware, the first radio to find its way into our stores was
Crystal Radio! A swanky little thing that the boys of America could make with their bare hands. And then there was
250-watt radio.
How long did you have to think about the name before coming up with your own?
Pipe down! Anyway... This radio was a milestone and paved the way for radio manufacturing everywhere. The volume was a bit touchy though. One time when I was...
Rogers receiver model followed, and this positively fantastic piece of mecha was the tightest thing ever to be made. Built just a few years ago in 1925, this is the modern radio. Stylish and functional.
Do you know why the radio was so popular in the first place?
Why don't you spill it for me, John?
Well, it revolutionized the way we hear the news, the way we listen to entertainment, and the way we jam to music. Now, available to everyone with just a little change in their pocket, it transcended social, political, and economic boundaries.
That's absolutely fascinating.
Factories have been backed up since. Everyone has been craving this nifty new tech.
Radio fever. Everyone's got radio fever.
Hot dog! That title's the cat's meow.
I know.
Well, the radio is a diverse piece of equipment that has changed the U.S. in more than one way.
I know.
Do you, David? The radio gave America the economic boost it needed. More consumers means more money, and the more popularity radios procure, the more stations are needed to keep the masses entertained, and the more stations that pop up, the more jobs are needed amongst these stations. It's a pretty neat little cycle.
That's fascinating. You know, the radio is really a diverse little piece of machinery.
I just said that.
The programs available for the listeners are really endless. There's musical programs,
like the Hijinkers, often featuring one of my favorite musicians, Guy Hunter. He may be blind, but the way he plays that piano.
Alright, fella. Quit fawning over your secret love. Cake eater.
David, you're just a wet blanket.
Okay.
Or is that you're just... There's also comedies and dramas available. Pretty entertaining.
Such as the Chase and Sanborn Hour and Great Moments in History.
In fact, there's even educational programs.
Like the Standard School Broadcast.
Pretty original, that name.
I agree. And don't forget sports.
How could I?
Well, sadly, we're about out of time, listeners.
It's been a fun segment on KEKH5. You Sheiks and Shebas have a great day.
Whoopee.
This is John and David, signing off. Morning, all you fabulous... That's not the right voice. Okay. It's been a fun segment on KELH5. Did I just say KEKL? I have to redo that entire thing. Okay, alright. Like the Hijinkers, often featuring one of my favorite musicians, Guy Hunter. He may be blind. He may be blind, but the way he plays that piano, I can't freaking do this right.
Hello, you fabulous people! Am I Southern Belle? Am I Little Gideon from Gravity Falls? Or am I perhaps Maple because I've changed the accent 5 times? Awesome. Anyway...
Alright, as we're all well aware, the first radio to find its way into our stores was the
Crystal Meth.
Oh my god. Do you know why the radio was so popular in the first place?
Why don't you spill it for me, John? Just spill it.
I did not start. Awesome.
Now having this old boy in our station is unreal. So tell us, how does it feel to create the radio, Googlio? I don't know what I'm saying.
This is John and David signing off, and this recording has been 3 years long. Awesome.